Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from Mercedes-Benz at Baton Rouge Studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. That means we're brought to you by Plucker's Wing Bar. Plenty to get to over the next couple of hours. Got Jacob Beck and Jordan Kitchens back there on the ones and twos. Biggest story here is very clearly his update on Ryan Ramczyk. And we've known for some time now that the knee's not great. He missed some time this past year. There's some hesitancy in the offseason as to what his health looks like. And in the availability at the Combine, in the availability at the Senior Bowl, it's kind of been a wait-and-see thing with Ryan Ramczyk. They absolutely needed to get it looked at. Seems like they needed to have a procedure done. But there was cautious optimism about whether or not Ryan Ramczyk would play. And you certainly hope that's the case, because Ryan Ramczyk has been a phenomenal player for the New Orleans Saints since they picked him back in the 2017 draft. He jumped in and started 16 games as a rookie. He only missed one game over the next 3 seasons. He was a second-team All-Pro twice. He was a first-team All-Pro in 2019. He was, by any measure, one of the 3 best right tackles in all of football. And you look at that, and you would suggest, okay, that's going to be a guy who plays for the Saints for 12 years. You can stick him there at right tackle. You pay him his money. He's a pro, and he'll be a huge piece to whatever happens, and one of the key pieces in moving on from the Breeze and Peyton era. And in 2021, he only played 10 games, but then he returned and played all 16 in 2022. But last year, you saw that dip to 12 games. Now, the play is not what it once was, but it's still pretty good. These are not end-all, be-all statistics here with Ryan Ramczyk, but you get the point of where I'm going here. The man's been called for holding 12 times. He's played for the Saints for 7 years. 12 holding calls in 101 games. He's a great, great player who has better football behind him than he does in front of him, but he's still a very functional member of your offensive line. And based on what we saw today and heard today from Dennis Allen, it doesn't sound great. Ian Rappaport had a tweet earlier today that said the Saints are preparing for the real possibility that offensive tackle Ryan Ramczyk is medically not able to play this season. Coach Dennis Allen alluded to Ramczyk's knee not responding as they had hoped. It's unclear when or if it will, a true question mark. And this is just really tough because you look at the Saints offensive line, this is a mess. It's a mess. I have no other way to put it. You don't have a left tackle. Andrews Pete is not under contract. Trevor Penning has suggested in no way that he's ready to play that position. James Hurst took a pay cut. Do you really want to spend 16, 17 games with James Hurst as your left tackle? I don't. 1 week? Sure. 2 games? Sure. 17? I don't think so. And now, you don't really have a right tackle because at this point, it doesn't sound like you can count on Ryan Ramczyk to play. Now, Landon Young filled in there, and he played okay last year, but again, he's a depth player. He's a substitute. He's never proven he's a high-level NFL tackle. There is a reason that quarterbacks, tackles, and edge rushers are the highest-paid players in the league. It's because their skill set is the hardest to find and the most important. In this league, if you can't protect the passer, affect the passer, and have a passer, you're in big, big trouble. And on the offensive side of things, the Saints have a guy who's capable of throwing the ball around a little bit, but he can't move. And now you're sitting here in March with the big-name free agents kind of flying off the shelves, looking at an offensive line that doesn't have a left tackle or a right tackle. That's not good. And you start to think about the draft, and it becomes, to me, increasingly more likely that the Saints will select an offensive tackle with their first-round selection because they need starters. You can't really address offensive tackle in the 6th round because how many 6th-rounders start? Yeah, you can find Terran Armstead at some point, but you can't count on that. It's possible, but it's unlikely. I know you swung and missed at Trevor Penning. I know you're not over the moon at Cesar Ruiz, who you took in the first round as well, but you probably have to go back to the well and make it happen. So right tackle's a mess. Left tackle, there could be a solution here, and it could be Andrus Peat. But the fact of the matter is that he's a free agent at this point. So Dennis Allen was asked about the possibility of bringing back Andrus Peat, and this is what he had to say.
Yeah, I think all things are on the table in terms of how we want to, fill out our roster. And so, there's a business aspect that goes along with all of these, decisions. And so, we'll see.
I don't know that the Saints can try to move money around and plug this hole at left tackle some other way. What I mean to say is there's a business deal and you don't want to overpay for, but the fact of the matter is you don't have a guy. You don't have anyone to play the position. So you need to come to the bargaining table without saying that to Andrus Peat, but say, hey, what looks good? And you need to get that deal done. They need to bring Andrus Peat back. My gut tells me that that's probably not going to happen. Once players hit that unrestricted free agency situation, it's just unlikely that they come right on back. You've got somebody in a restricted free agent situation, or you're the only one that can negotiate while it's still under contract. Yeah, obviously, because you're the only ones coming to the table, your odds go up. Once everybody gets to the table, those odds crash. And I'm not suggesting Andrus Peat is somebody's franchise left tackle they've just got to have. You actually punted on that notion early in his time and just put him out there last year because of necessity. Well, necessity's knocking at the door again. And it just feels like that's something that's got to get done. Here's the deal where I sit when I look at the Saints. And I'll be quite honest with you, personally, I'm more comfortable having a real negative conversation about a team that I'm more emotionally invested in than New Orleans. I'd rather be sunshine and rosy with the Saints, just my disposition, because I feel like I'm kind of attacking you, the Saints fan listener, when I bring some of these things up. That's not my intention. It's not even what I like to do, but I am calling it like I see it. And when I look at the Saints roster, I look at a roster with holes, with a hole at left tackle and a hole now at right tackle very likely, and some depth concerns in a big way at wide receiver. And looking at edge rusher going, And I see all these holes, and then I realize, Cam Jordan's going to leave a hole here in the short term. I believe Demario Davis is going to leave a hole here in the short term. Tyrann Mathieu is going to leave a hole here in the short term. Alvin Kamara is going to leave a hole here in the short term. The hole's going to keep popping up. There was a window there where it didn't feel like this. Even right after Breeze walked away, you could still look at the roster and feel okay about it, understanding that the biggest hole was coming, but everything else seemed kind of stable. It just doesn't right now. And I realize that this is not breaking news on Ramczyk and we should be shocked. It wasn't like he was in some sort of freak accident. We've known he had a degenerative knee issue for years. So it's not shocking, but the tone has changed in 3 weeks. I think anyone can admit to that. And I just don't feel awesome about it looking at it. There is one thing that is abundantly clear in all of this. The New Orleans Saints must draft exceptionally well. If you can get 5 starters out of the next 2 drafts, 7 starters out of the next 2 drafts, all of a sudden, you've accomplished that. But if you keep drafting Trevor Penning and you keep drafting Isaiah Foskey, you can't fix it. You can't. So I didn't have super high hopes for New Orleans this coming fall and still don't. But there's reason to think that it can get fixed. They've just got to draft exceptionally well. We'll see, but a bummer news out of Saints camp today with Dennis Allen saying they just aren't thrilled with the way that Ryan Ramczyk's knee is coming along. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.